Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. So today I'm going to be doing a comparison video on some palettes that I actually got inspired to do from my recent video where I did a review on the new Urban Decay Born to Run palette. And a lot of you in the comments were saying that it looked very similar to the Colourpop Shayla palette, and it also looked similar to the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. So I have all three of the palettes right here, and I'm gonna be sharing some swatches that are similar in all palettes with you guys, so that way you guys can see the similarities and to see whether or not you think you should spend your money on the Urban Decay palette. Now I do know that this one is available right now on the Urban Decay website, but it is gonna go on sale on Sephora, I think on the 19th, and it will be in stores on the 21st. So you can get your hands on this palette right now if you are interested in purchasing it. You'll just have to go on the Urban Decay website to purchase it. But if you guys have not seen that review yet, I'm gonna have that video down below in my description, so that way you guys can check it out after you get done watching this video. So out of the two palettes that you guys were saying it looked similar to, I think the one that really looks the most similar to the Urban Decay palette is the MakeupShayla palette. So I'll go ahead and open up the Shayla palette and put it side by side to the Urban Decay palette, so that way you guys can see them side by side. So here they are side by side, and they definitely look very, very similar. Obviously, Urban Decay has more shades, but the shades that are in the MakeupShayla palette look almost identical to the ones in the Urban Decay palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the ones in the Shayla palette that look similar to the ones in the Urban Decay palette, so that way you guys can see the shades swatched side by side, and who knows, they may not even be the same color as the ones that are in the Urban Decay palette, but we're gonna go ahead and see. And just to let you know, I'm only gonna swatch the shades that look the same in the Urban Decay palette on my arm. So I'm not gonna swatch this whole entire palette. I'm just gonna swatch the shades that are in this palette, so that way you guys can kind of make your decision on whether or not you need to go ahead and get this one if you already have this one. So I'm gonna start out with this top row of the MakeupShayla palette, and the first shade is this light champagne color, and looking at the one in the Urban Decay palette, it does not look like that there's a shade in there that matches it. So just by looking at it on camera, like, you guys probably thought it was this one, but when you see it up close, it's definitely different. So this one is actually a matte color, and then the one in the MakeupShayla palette is kind of like a shimmer, but whoa, hold on. I take that back. Whoa, okay. These are the same. I take that back. Okay, so I'm gonna swatch it right here, and don't mind that. I just forgot to wipe it off, but this is the Urban Decay. And then we have MakeupShayla. Oh, okay, never mind. On the finger it looked the same, but the top one is Urban Decay, and then the one on the bottom is MakeupShayla. So MakeupShayla just has the kind of like a peachy pearl iridescent to it, and the one on the top, you can barely see it, but there is a slight sheen to it, but you can definitely see it more in the MakeupShayla palette. Next is the gold shade in the MakeupShayla palette, and there is not a gold in the Urban Decay palette that is similar to that one, so we're not gonna swatch that. Then we have the gunmetal shade right here, and I'm gonna swatch this one because there is this same color in the Urban Decay palette, so I'm gonna swatch this one right there. And then the one in the Urban Decay palette is this shade right here. This is actually the shade that I used in my tutorial when I did my review. So let's swatch this one right there. And it's actually lighter. It's definitely lighter than the MakeupShayla, but they do look a little similar. They definitely look similar, but the one in the Urban Decay looks much lighter, and it reflects more than the one in the MakeupShayla palette. Going back into the Shayla palette, this next one is this dark, it looks like a black with blue shimmer, so there is definitely not a shade like this in the Urban Decay palette, so we're gonna skip over that one. And then this one right here, this is a rose gold. There is not a shade in here. No, there's not a shade in the Urban Decay palette that is similar to that rose gold. So I'm gonna skip over that one. Then we have this gold, like this is a bronzy gold shade. So we do have several Yeah, so I'm gonna swatch this one to see which one looks similar to that one. I'm gonna swatch this bronze shade right there. And going into the Urban Decay palette, I think it would match this one right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch that one. Yeah, so this one looks very similar to that one. Oh yeah. So there it is up close. Those two are definitely dupes, definitely. But I think the one in the Urban Decay palette is brighter than the one in the MakeupShayla palette, but they both like this, they're the same color. Next we have this forest green, and I think there is a similar color in the Urban Decay palette, and that is this one right here at the bottom that's kind of chipped. But we're gonna swatch these side by side to see if they match. So there's that one in the MakeupShayla palette, and then this one is the one from Urban Decay. So yeah, Urban Decay is obviously brighter. Then we have this dark blue, and I don't think I'm gonna swatch this one because there is not a blue in the Urban Decay palette that matches that one. It may look like this one at the bottom, like this one right here, but it's definitely not. This is more of a teal, so I'm not even gonna bother swatching that. Then we have Strut and Slay, which is another coppery rose gold color. There maybe, okay, I think I see one that may be similar to that. So I'm gonna swatch this one right there. And the one in the Urban Decay palette is this one right here. I think this looks similar. I'm gonna swatch it though, because just to see. Okay, so yeah, these look very similar too. Moving on to this nude color right here, I'm gonna swatch this one because there is definitely a color in the Urban Decay that matches this one. But we won't know if it's a dupe until we swatch it. So there is that. And this one that matches it is right here in the Urban Decay palette. Swatch it right there. I don't know. It looks similar, yeah. It's a little darker in Urban Decay, but they can definitely be similar in a way. Next we have this iridescent blue slash red looking color. And I'm gonna swatch this one because I think it's kind of similar to one that I see in the Urban Decay. I don't know, but we're gonna see. And I think it's this one called Blue Sky. I don't know, let's see. No, not at all. Not even close. What? Wait, it may be. I don't know. What do you guys think? You see more red in the MakeupShayla palette than you do Urban Decay, but they're a little similar. But once I tilt my hand like this, you don't see the similarities. But I mean, nah. Next we have this purple, and I am gonna swatch this because I feel like there is a dupe to this one in the Urban Decay. So far there are shades, you can still kind of see that color on my hand. But so far we are finding colors that look more similar than we are colors that are not similar. So far MakeupShayla is looking like a dupe. And the purple inside the Urban Decay palette that I think may be duped to the Colourpop palette is this one right here at the very bottom. So let's see what this looks like. I don't know. What do you guys think? The top one has more sheen to it, but the color is it's a little similar in a way. Colourpop has more shine than Urban Decay. So this last row, this shade right here, I'm not even gonna swatch because there is not a shade like this one in the Urban Decay palette. But I will swatch this orange because I feel like there is definitely a dupe in the Urban Decay. There's the orange. And I think the one in Urban Decay is either this one or this one. We're gonna go with this one because this one is a little bit darker. Yeah, we're gonna go with this one. So there they are, and they look the same. Next we have this dark chocolate color, and I definitely see something that would be a dupe to this one too. So we have, like, this palette is looking like an exact dupe to the Urban Decay. So I'm gonna swatch that color. And the one inside the Urban Decay I'm gonna swatch is this one right here. Swatch it right there. So there they are right there, which they look the same. Finally down to the very last shade, and I am not gonna swatch this one because there is definitely not a shade like this in the Urban Decay. This is a deep, kind of like a burgundy brown with pink shimmer. It looks like pink or like a rose gold shimmer, but there is definitely not a shade like this in the Urban Decay palette. So all in all, I would say the MakeupShayla palette is a good dupe to the Urban Decay. So if you kind of been on the fence with purchasing this one and you already have this one, I would say save your money. But I mean, if you love makeup, if you want to try new products, obviously I would say go ahead and get it, try it out. But if you don't want to spend that extra money on a palette that you know you already have the same shades in, I would say don't even spend the extra money. But I think they both are really good palettes. I've done a review on the MakeupShayla palette already as well, which I am going to leave the video down below for you guys too. So going into the Huda Beauty palette. Now let me just tell you guys, I have barely used this palette, so don't come for me. I think I've used 2 shades in this palette, but it still looks brand spanking new. And I think just looking at this one and looking at the MakeupShayla palette, I think the one from MakeupShayla is definitely comparable to the Urban Decay, but we're gonna see. I can't really speak too much on it yet because I have not swatched the shades side by side, and these shades are kind of laid out differently in this palette. So I'm gonna hold this one up and hold the Urban Decay one up too, so you guys can see them side by side. So here they are side by side. The palette from Huda Beauty is not as warm as the palette from Urban Decay. This first shade, Desert Sand, looks a little similar to the first shade in the Urban Decay palette. So I'm gonna swatch those side by side. You guys, I cannot believe I have this palette and I have barely used it. But there is that shade, and then the one from the Urban Decay. So there they are. Urban Decay obviously has more pigment, but they are similar in a way. Then we have this next shade, which looks like a light nude. I'm gonna swatch this one too because it looks like there's a shade like this in the Urban Decay palette. So we're gonna test it out and see. It's right there. And the one in the Urban Decay, I think is this one right here. It actually looks a little bit lighter, but I'm just gonna see. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, so those are not the same. Definitely not the same. And this next shade, I'm not gonna swatch this one right here because there is not a shade in the Urban Decay palette that matches that one. So we're gonna skip over that. And are we gonna swatch this one? No, because there's not a shade that looks like that one. So we're gonna skip that one too. This rose gold shade, I am not gonna swatch. Well, yes, I'll swatch it because I think I see something that's a little bit similar. Let's swatch that. And the one that I feel like is a little similar is this shade right here in the Urban Decay. So this one right here, let's see. The one from Urban Decay is more orange and it doesn't have much of a metallic look. Then this chocolate shade in here, I'm gonna swatch it. It looks a little light and a little cool tone, but I'm gonna see. I'm just gonna see because it may look the same from the Urban Decay palette. There's actually 2 chocolate shades in the Urban Decay. So we have this warmer chocolate right here, and then we have this cool tone right here. I'm just gonna swatch both of them and see which one matches the best with Urban Decay. Not the Urban Decay, but the Huda Beauty. So this one is the more chocolatey, warm tone one, and then we have the cool tone one right there. So these are obviously not dupes, not at all. Moving on to the second row, this first shade right here is kind of like a pink and green iridescent metallic. I'm not gonna swatch that because there's not any shades in this palette like it. And this next shade I'm not gonna swatch either because this is kind of like a gold and silk, because this one is kind of like a gold, silvery, pinkish, iridescent color, and there is definitely not a color like that one in the Urban Decay palette. And also this purple, like this purple / blue iridescent glitter color. I'm not gonna swatch this one either because there is not one like this one in the Urban Decay. But this purple right here, I think, let's try it out. I don't think it's gonna be similar to that purple in the Urban Decay, but we're gonna try it out and see. So the one that it may match in Urban Decay is this middle shade right here. Let's see, I need to wipe my fingers off because they are stained, but nah, I don't think so. No, not really. Even if I layered it, let me try to layer it a little bit more from the Huda Beauty palette, which I'm just gonna try to layer it a little bit more from Huda Beauty just to get that color to show up even more, because I feel like it's not as pigmented as Urban Decay. Well, that one color is not as pigmented, but there they are. It looks a little similar, but not much. Then we have these last two shades, which I am not gonna swatch. This purple, I don't have a purple like this one in the Urban Decay palette. It's kind of like a pinkish purple metallic color, and I definitely don't have that color in Urban Decay. And then this last one, it kind of has a shift. It's like blue, purple, green. It's really cool. Let me swatch it right here so you guys can see it. Look at that. It's really pretty, but there's definitely not a shade like this one in the Urban Decay palette. Now moving on to the very last row. This first one, we do not have a shade like this one in the Urban Decay palette. This is like a silver champagne color, and believe it or not, there's not one in the Urban Decay that looks like it. Then there's this peach color right here, which I am not gonna swatch because it is not in the Urban Decay palette. This is a color that reminds me of the NARS Orgasm Blush. It has that peach and gold shift to it, so it's really, really pretty. This next one, obviously there's not a shade like this one in the Urban Decay. This is kind of like a pressed glitter, so it has several different colors. It's like purple, gold, green. It's so many colors in here, but there's definitely not a shade like that in the Urban Decay. There are like no pressed glitter shades in the Urban Decay palette. Next, we have this burgundy color right here, and do I have something? Nope, I don't even have a shade like that, but I'll swatch it anyway right there, which is so pretty. But there is definitely not a shade in the Urban Decay palette that looks like that. Then we have this brick red shade right here, which is not in the Urban Decay palette, and I'm kind of surprised now that I'm looking at the palette from Urban Decay. There is not like a brick red color in here. You have orange, you have brown, but you don't really have like a red, like a brick red in here. And finally, the very last shade in this palette, I am gonna swatch because I see a dupe in the Urban Decay. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this and see if this one looks similar to the one from Urban Decay. And the one that looks similar is this shade right here. So this is the same one that we swatched that looks similar to the one in the MakeupShayla palette, and they looked identical. So I'm gonna see if this one looks very similar as well, which it absolutely does. So there they are. So yes, you guys, those are all of the swatches in comparison. I really hope you guys found this video helpful. And just judging off the swatches that we did, I think the MakeupShayla palette is definitely more comparable to the Urban Decay palette. So yeah, I really hope this video helped you guys in your decision. I don't really want to steer any of you away from purchasing the Urban Decay palette, but I just think if you already own the MakeupShayla palette and you don't want to spend the extra money on a palette that looks very similar, then I just think, you know, don't even waste the money on that palette. But if you own the Huda Beauty palette and not the Shayla palette, then I would say, you know, try to go ahead and try this one out because the shades in here are not as similar as the ones in the MakeupShayla palette. So yes, I think that is all that I have for this video. I really hope you guys found this helpful. If you enjoyed it, make sure you thumbs it up for me. And if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.